1 minute early, but that's fine. It's nice to welcome you. Happy New Year in person. It's wonderful to see many people coming. Everybody's welcome, regulars, visitors, anybody who wants to discover a faith or no faith, everybody's welcome. We are going to do something unusual and start with a hymn to welcome people. Open the door, step right inside, says the hymn. And this is what we want to do, to come in and to be coming in every Sunday this year with hope and with happiness. So this service is dedicated to hope, because this is what we need a lot this year and beyond, in my view at least. So when you're ready, you may stand as you wish. We will sing hymn number 126, and then we will light a chalice candle as we always do. So whether you want to follow from the screen or from the purple book, you may stand, as I said, and sing this lovely hymn. So we'll open the sung. Thank you very much. You may be seated. And now we move to this little light that the hymn is mentioning, and I will ask Linda, Brenda was about to say, Linda to come and light the chalice for us. Not Brenda. So. Hiding away from you. Yes, it does. Thank you. Brilliant. So we light this candle as a symbol of our faith. By its light, may our vision be illumined. By its warmth, may our fellowship be encouraged. And by its flame, may our yearnings for peace, justice, and the life of the Spirit be enkindled. And now we go to an introductory prayer. We join together now to worship as a beloved community. Each individual brings to a gathering faith and ideas, but each of us also yearns to share fellowship one with the other. May we look beyond any differences to the common bonds that unite us, faith, hope, and love, and may those divine qualities shine through our worship today. And now a few quotes about hope, of course. Aristotle says, hope is a waking dream. Martin Luther King Jr. says, only in the darkness can you see the stars. Richard Evans says, it is often in the darkest skies that we see the brightest stars. Very similar. And then we go to Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. It's really a wonder, she says, that I haven't dropped all my ideals because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet I keep them because In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. And one more by Bill Keane. Yesterday's history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift of God, which is why we call it the present. And this gives us hope. And now another hymn we're going to sing again is a short one. We do not sing it very often, but it's number one. So let's start here with number one, A Core of Silence. So again, if you wish to stand up, please do, and the words will be displayed on the screen. Thank you very much. Very nice hymn. And now we come to a story, as we usually do in our services. And I will ask Sheila if she could come to read it. It's called Two Frogs in the Milk. So let's see what they're about to do.
Two Frogs in the Milk by Melissa D. Hartman. This is the story of two frogs. One frog was fat and the other skinny. One day, while searching for food, they inadvertently jumped into a vat of milk. They couldn't get out. The sides were too slippery, so they were just swimming round. The fat frog said to the skinny frog, "Brother frog, there's no use paddling any longer. We're just going to drown, so we might as well give up." The skinny frog replied, "Hold on, brother, keep paddling. Somebody will get us out." And they continued paddling for hours. After a while, the fat frog said, "Brother frog, there's no use. I'm becoming very tired now. I'm just going to stop paddling and drown. It's Sunday and nobody's working. We're doomed. There's no possible way out of here." But the skinny frog said, "Keep trying, keep paddling. Something will happen. Keep paddling." Another couple of hours passed. The fat frog said, "I can't go on any longer. There's no sense in doing it because we're going to drown anyway. What's the use?" And the fat frog stopped. He gave up, and he drowned in the milk. But the skinny frog kept on paddling. 10 minutes later, the skinny frog felt something solid beneath his feet. He had churned the milk into butter, and he hopped out of the vat.
Thank you, Sheila. So hope everywhere. Brilliant. A nice story indeed. So we move on to our first reading, which is a few quotes by C.S. Lewis on hoping for something more. So there's hope in everything today. So most people, he says, if they had really learned to look into their own hearts, would know that they do want, and want acutely, something that cannot be had in this world. There are all sorts of things in this world that offer to give it to you, but they never quite keep their promise. At present, we're on the outside, says C.S. Lewis, the wrong side of the door. We discern the freshness and purity of morning, but they do not make us fresh and pure. We cannot mingle with the pleasures we see, but all the pages of the New Testament are rustling with a rumor that it will not always be so. Someday, God willing, we shall get in, we will put on glory, that greater glory of which nature is only the first sketch. We do not want to merely see beauty, though, God knows. Even that is bounty enough. We want something else, which can hardly be put into words, to be united with the beauty that we see, to pass into it, to receive it into ourselves, to bathe in it, to become part of it. And then we move on to the Bible proper, because obviously he made a couple of references to the New Testament, so we're going now to have a few biblical readings and Quranic ones on hope. So Proverbs 24 verse 14 says, "Know that wisdom is such to your soul, if you find it, there will be a future, and your hope will not be cut off." Jeremiah 29 and verse 11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and to give you a hope." Then Psalm 27, verses 4 and 5, just very brief readings. "One thing have I asked of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock." Then Mark, so New Testament, Mark chapter 5 and verses 35 and 36. "While he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house some who said, 'Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?' But overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, 'Do not fear, only believe.'" And one from the Quran, Surah Yusuf, which is Surah number 12 and verse 87, "And never give up hope of God's soothing mercy. Truly, no one despairs of God's soothing mercy except those who have no faith at all." And the third reading is a very short one from Buddhism, on hope again. That is from the four Bodhisattva vows, if you're familiar with them. So this is a very small extract. "However innumerable the sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However infinite the obstacles are, I vow to overcome them all. However immeasurable the Dharma is, I vow to understand it fully." The Dharma, for those who are not familiar with the term, refers to the teachings of Buddhism, the precepts, the beliefs. So, very hopeful passage. This passage reflects the heart of hope in Buddhism, where the Bodhisattva expresses the commitment to continue striving for the liberation of all beings, no matter the obstacles or the challenges that arise. The vow is not just an expression of idealism, but of deep, determined hope. Hope that each small action towards peace, understanding, and wisdom contributes to the greater good of all beings, all the sentient beings. In Buddhism, hope is not just an external force, it is an inner resolve that fuels our compassion and our desire to alleviate suffering. It is a hope grounded in the possibility of transformation, both of ourselves and of the world around us. Through dedication, mindfulness, and compassion, hope becomes a guiding light, helping us to persist and grow even in the face of adversity. And that brings us to some more music to reflect on this passage. And after the music, we'll go to the reflective address. The music is from Beethoven, Für Elise. You probably know that. It's a classic, about 3 minutes. And after that, we will move to the reflective address. So enjoy the music. In times of uncertainty, struggle, and despair, we often turn to a simple yet powerful word: hope. Hope is a concept that transcends belief systems, cultures, and philosophies, as we saw from the quotes and the readings. It is something universal, something deeply human, and something that sustains us when life seems rather overwhelming. As Unitarians, we find hope not in the certainty of dogmas, but in the possibility of transformation, connection, and human resilience. Exploring hope from a Unitarian perspective, we will delve into the nature of hope, how it manifests in our life, and how we can nurture it in our communities. But most importantly, we will reflect on how hope can help us engage with the world in meaningful ways, even when the path ahead seems unclear. So, the nature of hope first. Hope, at its core, is not about blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is not a passive expectation that things will somehow get better without really much effort or action. Rather, hope is an active force. It is a choice that we make to continue forward, to persist despite obstacles, to believe in the possibility of change, and to engage in the work of justice and healing in the world. Hope is both an emotional response and a rational understanding. It acknowledges the challenges we face, but insists that they are not the final words. Hope invites us to hold on to a vision of what could be a world of peace, of love, justice, and to take concrete steps towards that vision, even when the journey feels daunting. Unitarians, guided by principles that encourage critical thinking, justice, and compassion, understand hope as something grounded in the real world. We do not ignore the suffering, injustice, or pain in our lives or in the world around us. Instead, we embrace them, acknowledging their reality while also affirming our capacity for change, for growth, and healing. Hope, in this sense, is a dynamic and evolving force. It is not something that remains static, but something we cultivate through our actions, our relationships, and our willingness to believe in possibilities beyond our immediate circumstances. Talking of adversity, we are now moving to hope in the face of adversity. The world is not without troubles, we know that all too well. Climate change, political divisions, systemic inequality, violence, and poverty persist as daily challenges. Many of us have faced personal hardships, loss, illness, heartbreak, and uncertainty. It is easy in the face of such overwhelming realities to feel hopeless, to question whether things will ever improve. Yet, hope does not abandon us in times of darkness. Hope does not require us to deny the harshness of reality, nor does it demand that we ignore the pain and suffering that we witness or experience, or both. Instead, hope calls us to respond to adversity with courage and determination. It is in the struggle that hope finds its fullest expression, as it empowers us to keep moving forward, even when we do not know where the road leads. Unitarians are not unfamiliar with the reality of suffering, but we are also deeply committed to the transformative power of human action. In our history, we have seen countless individuals and communities rise up in the face of injustice, bringing about change in ways that once seemed impossible. From the abolition of slavery to the fight for human and civil rights, from the ongoing efforts to protect the environment to the struggle, particularly in authoritarian societies, for LGBTQ+ rights. Hope has been the driving force behind some of the most profound shifts in our society as well as in others. Now, these struggles remind us that while hope does not promise an easy journey, as we implied earlier on, it does promise a meaningful one. The work of justice and transformation is never quick or easy. Far from it. But it always is worth it. It is through this work that hope is nurtured and realized. As we seek to heal the wounds of the world, we discover that hope is not something we receive passively. It is something we create together through our actions, through our commitments, through our shared vision for a better future. And now we turn to the power of community in nurturing hope, as I mentioned in the introduction. While hope is an individual experience, it is also deeply communal. As Unitarians, again, we recognize the importance of community in sustaining that hope. We do not walk this path alone, nor are we meant to. In moments of difficulty, it is the support and care of others that lift us up, that remind us of the strength we have within ourselves, and that encourage us to keep going. The Unitarian community, with its values of inclusivity, compassion, and respect for diversity, offers a unique space where hope can be shared and nurtured. Here, we come together not because we all believe the same thing, but because we recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every single person. We acknowledge the deep connections that bind us to each other and to the world around us, and we commit ourselves to working together for the common good. Hope thrives in communities where people can lean on one another, where they can share their struggles and triumphs, and where they can work towards shared goals. As we come together in worship, in service, and in advocacy in many other ways, we weave a fabric of hope that strengthens each of us individually and collectively. It is this community of shared commitment and mutual support that we find the courage to hope. And then we also mentioned that it relates to action. So hope as a call to action. As Unitarians, our hope is not merely a passive feeling, as we said. It is not even a vague ideal. It is a call to action. Hope invites us to engage with the world in meaningful ways, to use our voices, to use our talents, to use our resources to bring about positive change. Hope urges us to stand up against injustice, to speak out for the marginalized, and to work towards a world in which all people can experience dignity, freedom, opportunities, and equality of opportunity. Hope is also a call to care for the earth. The climate crisis reminds us that our hope for a better world must extend to the planet that sustains us. Our hope for future generations demands that we take action now to protect the environment, to reduce our carbon footprint, to support sustainable practices that will ensure a livable world for all. Hope is not complacent. It is not a passive waiting for things to improve. Hope is a challenge, a demand that we change, and a demand that we engage with the world, that we act in ways that reflect our values, and that we do so with courage, compassion, and commitment. It calls us to be active participants in the ongoing creation of a just and loving world. Hope is not an abstract idea. It is a force that shapes our lives and our world. As Unitarians, we find hope in the power of human connection, in the possibility of transformation, and in the belief that together we can make a difference. Hope sustains us in the face of adversity, reminds us of our shared humanity, and calls us to action. At present, we may hope for a meaningful breakthrough in the Middle East conflict, for example, but that seems to be very distant. Hope that the world's economies will soon strengthen is unlikely, to be honest, as is hope that the developing world will receive the support and attention that it needs. Nor is it easy to hope that the people we love who are gravely ill or deeply troubled will find necessarily comfort when that is needed. But just when the temptation to despair seems overpowering, a glimmer of hope emerges. A hug, a word spoken in love, an object of beauty, an act of kindness, even a random act of kindness. There is a thin line between hope and delusion, between hope and self-destruction. The Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past," as you remember from the quote, "do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." The essence of living in the present moment, the now, is focusing the mind here and take attention away from thinking about past or future. The present moment is all there ever is to experience life directly. Past and future are only concepts of our minds, and therefore are good for learning from the past or conceptual planning when it is useful, but after this there is no need for them. Especially not to dwell in them, not to dwell in the past, and get stuck there in the mind by constant thinking loops, lest we destroy our hope and shatter our dreams. Let us live here today, when we come to that, with renewed hope, not a hope that is blind, to the challenges we face, but a hope that is grounded in the belief that change is possible, that justice is within reach, and that love will always prevail. And let us be agents of that hope, working together to create a world that reflects the values of compassion, of justice, and of peace. May we be ever hopeful, ever committed, and ever ready to bring our vision of a better world into being. Amen. So be it. And now we are moving to even more music for meditation. It's about 5 minutes by Jules Massenet. Thais, Méditation in French, if you like. Piano and violins, nice. And after that, probably a minute of silence, because of course some people prefer to also meditate in silence, but enjoy the music first. Now a few minutes of silent meditation. This music very heartwarming, I have to say, I really like it. So now we come to some poetry by Emily Dickinson. Hope, is it working? Okay. Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson, you may know. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. The sweetest in the gale is heard, and so must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chilliest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. And we move on to an offertory prayer when we come to that at the end of the service. I always like to read a blessing and a prayer about that. This church is sustained by what we are able to bring to it, our time and our energy, our love and our resources. Today's collection, of course, will be gratefully received after the end of the service to support the work of this congregation. So when we come to that, please give generously. And now a prayer for hope, because this is the topic of the theme of today's service. Gracious and loving Spirit, in times of uncertainty, we turn to you, seeking hope. Fill our hearts with the light of possibility, that we may see the path ahead, even when it is unclear. Grant us the courage to move forward, the strength to persevere through challenges, and the wisdom to know that change is always within our reach. Help us to hold on to the vision of a better world and inspire us to act with love and compassion. May hope guide our steps, unite our hearts, and empower us to bring healing and justice to all. Amen. And that takes us now to a rather well-known hymn, 201, What Shall We Say to Them? And once again, please remain seated if you want to, but if you want to stand up, that would be great, and the words will appear on the screen. So hymn 201. Sung, you may be seated. And we come to our closing words, and after that there will be more music, even more cheerful. So, we are blessed with an abundance of good things for which we are truly thankful, as long as we remember them. We are privileged with great freedom and power, for which in return we act with responsibility. We are lucky to have shared this time and space together because we are lucky to have each other. May the spirit of this place and these friends go with us into the busy city.